Hello YouTube, welcome back to the sewing room. I'm Dave, and today we're going to do an unveil on a Singer 103 made in 1921. There's really not a whole lot of work I'm going to do on it today. We're just going to look at it, sew with it a little bit, and talk about it because the 103 is kind of an interesting machine. So to start with, there it is, Singer 103. This one was made in Germany, so the dates on it aren't real specific. The German factory records were lost. There's a German website that has some serial numbers. They do estimated dates by production numbers, and so the estimated date on this one is 1921. The exciting thing for me, other than it's a 103 and has the Diehl reverse on it, is that it came in the industrial treadle with the 18-inch flywheel, which I've been looking for an 18-inch flywheel treadle for a long time. You can find the industrial frames, but usually the flywheel's been ripped out of them. And if anybody knows a place to find 18-inch flywheels for industrial treadles, leave me a comment. I'd be very appreciative. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the machine itself and talk about it a little bit. So now we're closer up on the machine, and we can talk about some of the specifics on it. The parts on it mostly aren't all that unique. Things like the bobbin carrier is the standard Singer 52237 bobbin carrier. Used on the 96, Juki uses it. It's the standard industrial bobbin carrier. I have one right here. So, and yeah, you can buy them for, a couple of bucks a piece still. So a lot of Singer parts are still copied today. You can find modern machines clone a lot of old Singer parts. The needle bar and the presser bar, I'm having to replace. I actually kind of damaged them when I was cleaning it up. You can see the needle bar has lost some metal. And so the needle bar I'm actually is the same needle bar off of a Singer 31, and I have that on order. The presser bar, like I said, it's generic industrial parts. I think I'm ordering one off of a 96. All that said, there are some parts that I'll need to replace that are not listed as standard parts in the Singer parts list. The rocker shafts on the bottom end are also damaged, thanks to me. So the machine is also missing one major component, the bobbin winder, which mounts here. The bobbin winder on the 103 was more or less unique. There's a company in India that still makes the 103, but they do not make the bed mount bobbin winder for it. One thing I noticed about this machine, which was kind of surprising to me, it's a German-built machine, and it might just be, the time frame, I'm not sure what, but overall the construction quality just doesn't really stand up to the British and American machines from the time. Some of the parts just don't feel good. That's the only way I know how to put it. They feel the metal, like I said, I'm just cleaning it up. I damaged metal just cleaning it up. I've never done that on a machine before, which was really surprising to me. The metal used in the castings is of a lower quality than I'm used to. I destroyed several screws. The center screws on the rock shafts on the bottom are all destroyed. The center screws on these are not the domestic center screws. They're the industrial screw centers, the Singer 50 191s. And so those are not as common. And even for the modern industrials, getting that kind of part is kind of a pain to search out somebody who stocks them. Right now I have screw centers off a domestic on it, which are, the incorrect ones. They're a little too shallow, but it does run, and I'm not going to run it at real high speed until I get the correct screws on it. So what made the 103 a desirable machine for me was this. This is the Philip Diehl reverse. As far as I've been able to find out from researching patents, this was the first lever reverse on a sewing machine. If I'm incorrect, somebody please correct me and I'll reshoot the video or just edit this part out. But all my research, this is the first reference I can find to a levered reverse on a sewing machine. When I first picked up the machine, I was hesitant to do any adjustments or work on the whole reverse and stitch regulation assembly. I didn't even take out the fork feed connection just because I didn't want to really touch this and break it. So after taking everything else apart, putting everything else back together, this is when I discovered that there was an issue with this. It was basically bound up, could barely move it. The machine itself would only sew in reverse. I couldn't get it to go forward and feed. It would, basically go into neutral, and the feed dogs just come up and go straight back down. So I took it apart. Turned out not to be that intricate of a mechanism. I'll go ahead and throw a picture up here so you can see what it looks like out of the machine. Took it apart, cleaned it. It was really gummed up, and that was probably what was causing the issue. It probably wasn't so much it wouldn't be able to feed forward. It's just I was nervous about putting so much pressure to torque it up so it would feed forward. Now it moves very easily. I can even actually get it to move freer than this, but I like a little bit of tension on it. It's just held in by a spring washer here that provides the tension. One drawback, one thing they didn't put on it, which for Singer is weird because they love their springs. There's no spring return. A spring return, this is forward, that's reverse. So a spring return on this, where you push it down and then when you release it, it raises it back up, would have been a really nice addition, simply for one reason alone, which is when you adjust it to a longer stitch length, you have to push it up afterwards. Going to a shorter stitch length, as you can see here, it adjusts down. Let's see if you can make sure you can see that. That's actually, the regulator pushing down inside. So I go to there, and that's a 0 stitch. But then wherever I try to go back up, that's 5 millimeters. It's going to still be at 0 until I push this up. So if there's a spring return, that would bring it up as well. That would have been nice. Weird, but I mean, this was the first one that they did, and I get into a little bit of the history of that. The 103, kind of has a little not mystery, but secrecy about it, I think. The serial numbers for the first 6 103s, if you look online, I'll post the serial number database entry here from ISMAX. But if you look, the serial numbers say they were issued on December 11th, 1912. However, everything before and after them are January 8th, 1912 serial numbers. For these serial numbers, they show up in the logs as being 103s on December 11th, 1912. The patent was applied for on December 12th, 1912. So just a little weirdness, like they were working on this machine in secret with a batch of 6 serial numbers that they were given, but were just off the books until they got ready to apply for the patent in mid-December, and then they put them on the books as to what it was. The first real batches of 103s, what I found, were from 1913, April of 1913, which is also around the time that Philip Diehl passed away. The patent was awarded in 1914, so the machine was actually in production with patents pending. We talked about it for a bit, so now let's go ahead and throw a little bit of cloth in here and see how it stitches. I don't believe I have the tension set well on this. We'll see. So the 18-inch flywheel does make a difference. And another set here, I'm getting just a little bit of puckering, so there will be some tension adjustments in the future. The feed is not as bad as I had feared. And this will be the first time I've kicked off reverse on this guy. So it could be awesome or it could be a tragedy. So, not great, but not tragic. Bit more puckering. Yeah, the tension adjustment's a little bit more noticeable on the reverse stitches. Just the tension on the bobbin carrier needs to be loosened. The to-do list on this machine is beginning to narrow down. I still need to, you can tell the veneer is just in terrible shape, so that'll all come off and new veneer will come on. The 103 does have a larger harp area than the regular domestics. The book on it says I think it's 8 7/8 inch bed length. Looks about right. And then the height is, it's like 6 1/4 at the top, the highest point. Not as long of a bed as a 96. I believe my 96 is maybe 11 inches from here to here. So for people who don't know about Philip Diehl, the guy who engineered this reverse, he came to the U.S. from Germany in 1868. I'm not sure when he started working doing engineering for Singer. But one of his early things was, if you see the large logo Treadle, I'll go ahead and put up a picture of one here. That was him. The electric sewing machine motor was him. The ceiling fan was him. The oscillating fan was him. This reverse was him. The Singer 15 was him. I say him and his team. He did work with other people. The guy, engineered a ton of stuff that we still use today, not just in sewing machines, but in our everyday life. So anytime I can get my hands on something he designed, I'm thrilled. So I believe I've prattled on about everything I can prattle on about. I appreciate you hanging around, watching the video. If you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them. And thanks for watching.